Hey guys, Jason here with a word to the wise. I'm just sitting in a parking lot, just trying to get this off my chest. And let me just turn my car off. Just enjoy the silence here for a moment. If we have seen anything in the last 3 years, it's a lot of information. Whether you chose to take that information, dig into that information, share that information, or disregard that information. There's been more information that we were asking to know, but the information was presented to us, and how you took that information, A, B, or C, X, Y, Z, where it goes from there, I don't know. But even the major media moguls, those guys, they were putting all of it in our hands. They were sharing more information than, it's the media. That's their job. They didn't really put an opinion if people were overstepping their bounds or if it was too light-handed. I mean, there was a little bit, if you were in the South, in Florida or Texas, or I think it was North Dakota, those guys weren't doing enough. We should be taking this a little more seriously, right? But now that we've kind of moved beyond the last 3 years, where we are now, the UN is doing more to make sure that next time there is more of a balanced world response. Sounds like a good idea, but I've seen people that were digging into the paperwork that they're drawing up, and we don't really know exactly their final wording on anything that's going to be going on. And I know that people have been saying that there's ways to stop them from doing whatever they're drawing up. But here again, when you look at tribulation is brought onto the world for judgment. It's not supposed to be some sort of a slap on the wrist. This is a heavy-handed, the worst trouble the world has ever seen. So, with that, there might be people sharing the heavy-handed side of what has happened over the last 3 years, and then there's people that are talking about the light-handed, that those guys that are using the heavy hand, they're going way too far. And look at the information we have about the things that they're bringing to the table to rectify the problem. And look how awful that is. And look at the problems it's developed. And we don't even know the long-term effects of what they have brought to the table. So now, say in the next month, they have their assembly. Supposed to be looking at the world climate, I think, is the main agenda on the bill, and everybody's supposed to be coming to. But imagine that. Well, let's just say in the UK, they're talking about a new letter for the Greek alphabet, because they got some sort of a scenario happening over there. That could be a fast-spreading problem that might be worse than the last letter in the Greek alphabet. That seemed to not be so extreme, but just kind of a hard thing to get rid of. People talking. If you haven't seen TheologyEd, he has a community post. I'll put his link to his YouTube channel, but you'll have to go and I'll see if I can link the community post. I'm not sure how that works. But imagine you bring these two sides of the, to the table, and you got the one guy saying, well, we drew up this for the betterment of the world and you need to comply. And then you got the people saying, well, I know a lot too, and I don't think it's necessary and I don't want to. you start bumping heads. And how far will both sides go to do what they think is right? Imagine it can get pretty bad. Pretty bad. Not to make light of it, but talking possibly tribulation style events. And what rises out of trouble? Would we see the Antichrist come to the table to then stop both sides and say, can we not do this? It's unnecessary. We'll find a good balance, and something that the world will say is the better answer to both our problems. Wouldn't it be the perfect recipe to bring about that one guy to come to save the world, to deceive man? I think we could see that cooking up pretty soon. I'm not going to put any timeline on anything, but we got that holy day coming up in the timepiece land, 15th, 16th, and 17th of September. You got the UN Assembly happening the 18th, the day after, and then the 19th, Hourly Watch is talking about a celestial event that mirrors possibly what is being spoken in Revelation 12. And where does it go from there? Well, if you look at Revelation 12 on to chapter 13, I've shown a few times, depending on which Bible you're reading, it's a continuation. I stood on the seashore, could be the end of chapter 12, and then the beginning of chapter 13 says, and then I saw a beast rise out of the sea. So just a word to the wise guys. Just a watch period. That's all I'm saying. Just keep your eyes on what is happening, because it could be pretty significant, to say the least. Just a word to the wise guys. God bless.